Using collections. All right. Okay, so collections are awesome. I think collections are absolutely fantastic. And I don't know what I would do without the ability to use these. They make working with Lightroom and managing your hard drive space, excuse me, so much better. All right, so just a little background information here. In Lightroom, in your library, and again, I'm going to go to Lightroom and show you where these things are. But in the library module of Lightroom, you have kind of two storage options. One is folders, and that's where the images are actually stored. So in the folder section, that's the place on your hard drive where all of your images are stored. Raw images, JPEGs, Photoshop, or TIFF files, but that's actually a hard drive location. The collections are groupings of images that are created inside Lightroom that you can gather and organize images from different folders. So a folder has specific images in them, and you might have them organized by specific dates or locations, or if you do client work, by specific clients, but they're actually a physical location on a hard drive where the images are stored. Collections are just an album or a grouping of images inside your Lightroom catalog that you can gather and group images from a variety of different folders, however you want to organize them. But can think about them as being kind of a virtual grouping. So other than in Lightroom, those collections or those images don't exist grouped like that outside of the Lightroom catalog. They're only inside the Lightroom catalog in those groupings. Okay. So here is essentially, if you're looking at your library module, over on the left-hand side, you have your folders, okay? And then below the folders is the collections module. And I'm going to go to that in just a few minutes, okay? Why do you want to use collections? Well, it's going to make your workflow more efficient and organized. It's useful for grouping images. It saves a lot of space on your hard drive. It only creates a link in that collection to where the original image is, okay? So, and one image can be in multiple or many collections, but that one image is only in one folder. Okay, so that image will only exist in a folder as a real image, but you could gather it and collect it in a collection or even in multiple collections, but wherever it is, it's referencing back to that image in its original folder location.
Judy,
Why it's so go ahead.
Excuse me. If this is, the collections are virtual copies, and you're, say I'm sending images to you via Dropbox, because I haven't done this way.
Okay.
Do I have to go, can I go through the collection set, which is neatly organized with X amount?
Yeah.
And then Dropbox directly from the collection set, even though it's a virtual copy as JPEG?
Well, it's referencing back to the original. So
okay.
Even though it's in the collection, it's gathering it, and you can use it as you would an image in a regular folder. So you can export from collections.
Okay.
Right. So, and the best thing is you're not making any duplicates of that original. It doesn't make a copy, so it's not filling up your hard drive with extra copies of that original. It's only creating that little link inside Lightroom. And then the other thing, when you move on to all the other modules in Lightroom, when you move on to the develop module or slideshow or printing, the folders are not visible anymore, but all of your collections are. So you can move around in any collection in all the other modules. But if you want to go to a folder, you have to go back to library, pick the folder, and then move on to go to develop or whatever else you want to do. So, and that keeps you from having to kind of bounce back and forth also. Okay. So yeah, it's just a really fantastic thing. And I do realize it sometimes takes a little bit to kind of wrap your head around what it's doing. But once you do, you'll be like, oh, the power of these collections is pretty amazing. All right.
Thanks.
So this is kind of what the little icons look like. And there's several types of collections. One is just a regular collection. Okay. And I'm going to show you how to create these and how to use them. The other one is a collection set, which is a grouping of collections. It's like a box. So think about the collection as maybe a folder that holds a bunch of images, okay? And then a collection set is a box that will hold a bunch of those collections. So you can use that to organize and to group by specific topics, and I'll show you what I have. And then there's a smart collection, which is smart because it will allow you to create a collection based on specific metadata criteria, okay? And I'm going to show you that too. So ways to add images to the collection, you can drag and drop them, one image at a time or a group of images. You can also create a targeted collection where if you're looking in the library and you have an image selected and you press the B key, the letter B as in boy, if you've made a collection, a targeted collection, it will, by pressing that B key, it will add that image automatically to your target collection. So that makes it really easy to go through a group of images and add them. And again, I'm going to show you how to do that. And then a quick collection is just the default target collection. I'm going to show you how to do those. Best practice is to sort and rate the images before you move them on to collections. So last week we did sorting and rating with stars or colors. So I always do that first, and then I add them to a collection. Now, other people may do it differently, but I find that if I do that, that makes the most sense for kind of moving forward. Okay. And again, smart collections, you set parameters, you can choose metadata, you set ratings, and then Lightroom, once you've set this up, Lightroom will look through your entire library of images, and it will gather just those images that you set up that criteria for. Okay, so which makes it really easy if you're trying to find something or gather a bunch of images that might have a specific star rating or color or keyword or camera or lens or whatever metadata you want to find it by. You can set that up for a smart collection to find it. Okay. All right, so let's move on and actually look at this. All right, so I made my screen and the type a little bit larger on here. Is that a little bit easier for you guys to see than before? On the left and the right side, at least. That's as big as I can make it to have it make any sense. And because the zoom in is a little awkward. Okay. All right, so over on the left-hand side, I have folders. Okay. And that's where my images are stored on the hard drives. Okay. So this is where the folders, that's where the images exist in reality. So that's where they're stored. Okay. And then below that, you have collections. Okay. So if you can see, and let me do this. If this doesn't work for you guys, let me know. All right. Okay. So over here, okay. it's doing. Hold on. Okay. All right, so here's collections over on that left-hand side, and I've clicked on the little triangle to open it up. And then you can see I have some of these boxes, and that's a collection set. Okay. And in that collection set, okay, I then have additional collections. So that's a way of organizing. That's a way of organizing so you can have, you know, this box of stuff and you can close it up. Okay. And there's my Lightroom class. So here's all the stuff for my Lightroom class, and that's in its own little box called Lightroom classes. And then there's different collections for the different classes that I've done. So I just organized all my images in there. All right. So how to create a collection, first thing. Let me close these little boxes up. And I have a bunch of different ways, things that are organized on here. So I have a book selection, I have my business book picks, I have things for calendars, I have class examples, I have client work, cookbooks, exports for my laptop, things for sale, just a group of France pictures, a group of Italy pictures, a whole collection of things that are just on my website. So I have a collection set and then individual collections for everything that goes up on my website.
Yeah, I just lost you.
Oh no, where did you lose me?
Yes.
Italy pictures.
Okay, so Italy pictures, thanks. So I have this other collection set that's just for my website. So I have the box, and then I have individual collections inside it that are just the images that go up on my website. So I have them kind of grouped in all of these different ways. All right, so the way to create a collection is right here on the collection. There's a little plus arrow next to it. Just click on it, and you have a choice: create collection, create smart collection, create collection set. So the first thing I'm actually going to create is just a collection. So that's the simple thing. That's just a very simple collection. So I'm going to click on it, and then I want to name it. So I'm going to name it Tuesday Lightroom class. All right. So this is one place, because this resides inside a database, which is Lightroom, it's inside Lightroom, I can name it with any kind of text I want to put in there, spaces and numbers and characters and whatever. Because just think about it as a text kind of file. It's not a folder and it's not a file name. So it doesn't have to adhere to those conventions of letters and numbers and things like that. So I can name it any way I want. If I already had a collection set I wanted it in, I could check this box and I could choose any of the collection sets that I have, and those are all of them. Okay. But I don't really want it in any of those. Then I have options. So if I've already have a bunch of images selected, I can choose include selected photos, but I don't want that because I'm just going to add them kind of regularly. I can set it as a target collection here, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute though. And I can also sync it with Lightroom Online. And I'm not going to do any of those right now. I'm just going to create a plain collection. So I named it, and I'm just going to click create. And then, yes.
If you create a collection in Lightroom, will it translate over into Bridge?
No, it will not, because it's embedded inside the Lightroom database, and Lightroom and Bridge are kind of separate platforms on how they handle things.
Okay.
Okay. Now I could probably, and I haven't tried this, and Victor, I'm happy to look at it with you offline at some point, but you might be able to kind of export it in some way out of that collection and set it up for something to work with Bridge. But honestly, once you start using Lightroom, I would probably not use Bridge for anything else. Because I haven't used Bridge at all since I've started using Lightroom.
I was thinking in terms of, in Bridge, you can see graphic documents.
Oh yeah, you cannot, the only thing you can see in Lightroom is photo files. You cannot see PDFs or EPSs or anything like that. So yes,
but if you had graphic files in Bridge, classified the same way as you had images in Lightroom, to be able to view both graphics and images.
You would have to do that in Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they would have to be in a folder.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So here is my Tuesday class. Right now it has no images in it. It's created, and see how the little icon is here? Let me just go. See how the little icon kind of looks like two little kind of folders or little packages, and it says Tuesday Lightroom class, and there are no images in it. Okay. All right. All right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to scroll up to a folder. Okay. Because remember, in a collection, I can have images from multiple folders. Okay. All right, so I'm going to choose, since this only has a few, okay, so I'm going to choose September, and I've already organized some of these images, so I don't have to do that right now. Okay. All right, so I'm going to sort them by, I already added stars to them, so you can see that these are already star rated with 2 stars. Okay. There's a bunch of them in here. So I now have that, and I have that folder open with those images in it. So now I'm going to just scroll down to where my Lightroom collection is. And if I click on the image and I can drag it, and this is drag and drop, I can drag it into this, see, and it's now, I have 1 image in this collection. Okay. Should have made those a little closer together. All right, so I can drag and drop them into that. And if I wanted to do multiples, I could select a bunch. Here I've selected 6 images, okay? And when you're dragging and dropping, remember to click in the image area, not in the border, because nothing will happen if you click in the border, except it will deselect everything else. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag them all down now and put them in there. Okay. You know, if you're doing a bunch of images one at a time, that gets tedious, right? That already looks like it could end up being pretty tedious. Okay. All right. So now to create a targeted collection, I'm going to right click on this collection, okay, and set as target. Okay. What it did now is, see, it added this little plus sign at the end of the collection name. That means it's a targeted collection. So that's going to make it easier for me to add images to it. That's all, that's its only purpose, is to make it easier for you to add images to this collection. All right. So I'm going to go back up now to my folder where my donkeys are that I want to add. Okay. All right. All right. So I can also see right here on the little badges we talked about last time, one of the little badges on my image says photo is in a collection, and it was in my sorting class from last week, and it's in the Tuesday Lightroom class right now. So it added that to that collection. So that's one way you can see, like, is it already in there? The other way you can see that it's added it to the collection is in the upper right-hand corner of the image, there's that little dot. That's another way of adding them to the collection, is by clicking on that dot. That will put it in the target collection. But that's, I don't know, to me, that's a bit tedious to do it that way, but it'll also tell you if the image is in the collection or not if you actually look at that. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna scroll down. So those are all in there. This one is not. So if I press the B key, the letter B, and I have this image selected, add it to target collection. So when I'm sorting and I want to put things in a collection, I will keep one finger on the B key and then my other fingers on my arrow keys. And I'm going to move over to this one. Okay, do I want that in there? No, I want this one in the collection. So every one I want in my collection, I'm pressing the B key while that image is highlighted. Okay, and I can just move through the images, okay, with my arrows pretty quickly and add that image to the collection. Okay, if I put it in there by accident, if I press the B key again, you see it pops up really quickly. It just removed it. So look at the screen really quickly. I'm going to press the B key, add to target collection. If I press it again, it's going to remove it from the target collection. Okay, so that makes it kind of easy to add them and remove them. So let's go look. Yes, go ahead.
One more time, I missed it. How did you set up the targeted collection?
Really easily, right click on the collection that you want to make a target.
Okay.
And then the fourth one down is set as target collection.
Okay, got it.
That makes it really, really simple. And I can choose any collection that I have just by right clicking on it and set it as the target collection. And hopefully you can see that it just adds that little plus sign next to the collection.
Got it.
That's the clue that that one's the target collection.
Thank you.
So right click, set it as a target collection. So let's look at that collection now. And this, I drug 6 or 7 of them in there, but all the other ones I added just by pressing the B key and moving through the grouping. So this is all from one folder. It's still a target collection. I'm going to go back up to a different folder now. Let's go to this one. All right, so let's make these a little bigger. Sometimes I don't do this in the grid view. I do it in the full view. And I'm going to go through which images do I like. I like that one, add it to the target. Oh, maybe that one. Oh, that's kind of nice. And you can, like I said, you can do it pretty quickly because you can look at the images, just keep one finger on the B key, another one on your arrow keys, and you can move through the images and add them and take them out of the collection that you're working on pretty quickly. All right, so let's go look now at this. So right here, these bottles are in this folder for Studio Still Lifes, and the donkeys were in the folder from September. Okay, but now both groups of images, okay, are in this same collection. So this is how I can gather things from multiple places into one place. And that's why I put them in a collection. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, all right, so I've got that. Now you have images in the, I'm in the collection. I have images in the collection. I'm like, oh, I don't really want that one. So I can either, so if I press the delete key while I'm in the collection, it just took the image away. Okay, I didn't get a warning, nothing happened. And that's okay because it's just this virtual grouping. It's not the real image. It just unlinked it from this collection. Okay. If I were to go to the folder where they are, and now I press delete, oh, now I'm gonna get a warning. Okay, so this is how you know like where you happen to be. So, ooh, I just pressed delete. Do I want to delete it from the disk? Do I want to remove it out of Lightroom? Did I really want to do that? No, I didn't want to do any of that. So I can cancel it. But if I press delete here, it's going to actually delete it from the hard drive also. This is why this warning pops up. Okay, so this is exactly why this warning pops up.
Judy, excuse me, does that only show up in the folder, not in the collection? Okay.
Yes, you only get the warning in the folder because it wants to confirm, are you sure you wanted to delete this image? Okay, or did you just want to remove it from Lightroom? Okay, so in the folder, I'll get the warning. In the collection, I'm going to do it again. So I don't want this one either. Oh no, maybe that one. So I'm pressing delete right now. It just went away, no warning. Okay, so in the collection, it will just take it away. It's still in the folder, it didn't delete it, but it just took it out of the collection. Okay? All right, so that was to create a regular collection. Okay. Now I'm going to create a collection set. So right here on collections, I'm going to click on the plus again. I'm going to say, I'll come back to smart collections, but I'm going to create a collection set. And this is going to be.
We lost you again.
Oh, did I go away? I hate that. All right.
I'm here, Judy.
All right, so I'm creating a collection set.
Hey, Judy, we lost you for about 15 seconds or so.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay, so I'm creating a collection set. And this is going to be the box that holds collections. A collection set never holds images itself, but it will hold a group of collections. So it's kind of how the box that you can put all the little packages in. So this is example collection set. So I'm going to create that. And now it created, see this one now created a box and it says example collection set. And there's nothing in it, okay? So it's just an empty box right now, okay? So I can click on it and create a collection in it. So I'm just gonna call it collection 1 example, okay? Inside my collection set, example collection set. And again, I can choose set as a target if I want that and sync with Lightroom. I'm not gonna do that, but to create. So now it created a collection inside the box. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so that first collection that I created as an example for class is not in a set anywhere. It's right down here. So to organize, I don't want it to be all lonely and outside of anything. So I'm actually gonna click on it and I'm gonna drag it up to this and just put it inside that box. So I can drag things around. I can move them around for more organizing in there, and it just moved it now. Example collection set. Okay. All right, so there it is. If I open that box, it now has my example and my Tuesday class. So I just drug my Tuesday class into that box, okay, to make it a little neater and more organized. Okay, so if you're like, oh, I didn't put it in the right place, you don't have to get, too concerned, because you can always move it around later and make it work for you. Okay. All right. So how do I make collection number 1 my targeted collection? Anybody?
Right click.
Right click?
Right click.
All right, right click, set as target. Now it moved the little plus sign up to that one. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to my folder. I'm going to go back to a different folder. So here's some other photos. Let's see. Oh, lovely. All right, so let's look at those. Oh, I'd like that one in the collection, maybe that one. So I'm just pressing the B key as I'm moving through here because I set it up as a target. Okay. I don't want all of them. That one, that's pretty nice. That's kind of nice. All right, so I just added a few. Let me add some from this folder as well. And this is why having them already sorted really helps, because I can narrow it down to my 2 stars and higher and go through and pick some images from that. Just scrolling through that one. That.
I have a quick question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you say about the collection names? So when I go in and I create a new collection set and I create a new collection underneath that collection set, are there any requirements like don't do spacing or don't put numbers?
No, because it's kind of, think of it as more of a Word document where you can kind of type anything you want in there because it's inside the database. It's not a file, it's not a folder, it's actually inside something. So you can name the collection pretty much anything you want.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yep. All right, so now I very quickly, I just added 19 images to this collection, just by going through a couple folders, using my B key and my arrows and adding them to this collection, okay? So I was able to add them, and they're from different folders, so I can gather stuff into a collection from a whole variety of different places, okay? That's kind of the beauty of it. The next thing that's actually kind of nice with a collection that doesn't always happen for you in a folder is if I want to organize these images in a specific order, I can actually drag them around. So let's see, I want this one.
Leave a message and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks for calling.
Sorry. I didn't want to leave the screen.
Okay. All right. So I can oops, that got a little tiny. So in this, I can actually choose an image and I can drag it to another location to organize them in a specific order that I might want them in. And the reason that is helpful is if I go over here to book, I can have them in a specific order. If I want them in a specific order when I create a slideshow, or if I want them in a specific order to print them, maybe I want to group a couple images together on a page, I can organize them in my collection and move them around, and they will stay there unless I change the sort order, okay? I can close this down, I can come back to it, and they will still be in the same order that I put them in the collection.
So
Okay.
Judy, when you move something, say you move the last image and you've changed it with the position of the first image on the first row left, right? So then does that one drop into the other space?
Yeah, it just moves it up.
it moves it up, but it doesn't, you know, the one on the bottom is not going into the top spot and the top one going into that one? Or
No, it's just like if I move this one, it's just going to push everything else ahead.
Okay.
It's just going to kind of fill in that spot and move everybody over.
Okay.
And if I take it back here, it just took it out of that spot. And I can even do that with a group of images if I want to move a whole group of them. Okay. I want to move all of those over here. I just took all of them and moved them at once.
Okay.
Okay. So I can totally move them around however, and they will stay there. They will stay in that order. So if I'm trying to put a slideshow together and have images going in a specific order, put them in a collection, organize them the way you want them to be, and then the slideshow will play in that order. Or if I go to print, okay, and I want to, you know, create a contact sheet of some kind, okay, with the images in a specific order, I can organize them out of that collection, okay, in whatever order I would like them to print in. Okay. Oh, and notice while I'm in the print module right here, look over on the left-hand side. Oh, let me close the templates up. Okay. I don't have folders anymore, but I do have all of my collections. I have absolutely every collection is available in any of the other modules. Okay. Folders are not. They're only available in library, but your collections are available in all of the other modules. All right, so far, does this make sense? Anybody have questions? Okay. All right, so this is what I also do sometimes, and I hopefully I don't want to confuse the issue, but you can actually, since this is my target collection, I can actually go into another collection and put an image in the target collection from another collection. Okay. So I just added this donkey to this grouping. Okay.
So you can change the target around anytime you want.
Yes, absolutely. You can move the target anytime you want, and anytime you press that B key or the little dot that's up there, it will put that image in your target collection. Okay. And I can take images from one collection and put them into another collection. So, which is, you know, which can be very helpful if you have a grouping. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll have a big grouping of images, and then I'll want a smaller grouping. So I'll just make maybe even a subset collection of a larger collection. Because I might have all the images I liked, I put them in a slideshow or they go up on my website, and maybe I only want this group to print out on a contact sheet or something. Or I only want that group to go up on my website. So I can make even a tighter grouping as another collection. Okay. All right. So we have collections, which I gather the images. We have collection sets, which is a grouping of a whole bunch of collections. And you notice that box, there's no number next to the box, but the images inside it, there's a number next to it, and it lets you know how many images are in that specific collection. Okay. And where do I have a bunch of them? Let me scroll. Okay. Lightroom classes. Okay. The other interesting thing about it is if I click on the box, it's going to show me all of the images that are in all of the collections inside that box. Okay. So like right now I have a whole bunch, and it's going to show me all of the, however many images happen to be in that grouping. And one of them has 1,100, which seems to be a lot for a collection, but it's all of my Italy 2013 exports. And there's 1,100 of them in there, which is a whole lot. Okay. All right. So now creating a smart collection, and I'm going to save it inside this example collection. So I'm going to go to the collection and to the plus sign, and I'm now going to create a smart collection. Okay. So I'm going to name it class example smart collection. Okay. So it's really whatever I want it to be. And I want it to go inside a collection set, example collection set. Or if I wanted a different one, if I clicked on it, I could choose any of the other options. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to set the criteria of what I want Lightroom to find for me. I don't have to find these images. Lightroom is going to find these images for me. So rating. So I'm going to go with 2 stars and higher. Okay. And then there's a little plus sign next to that. And that's going to, if I click on that, it's going to give me another level of criteria to set. And I don't want a rating again. So when I click on that, I get to choose what other things that I want to use. So camera information. So let's see. Camera is, I'm just going to put R in here and see if it'll pick that up. I can always delete them. That's what the little minus sign is if for some reason that didn't work. Camera is not contains. So because contains R, and I wanted to pick up my Canon EOS R. So that's why I'm putting that in there. And then I'm going to add one more level, other metadata, and let's go with keywords, and I'm going to put in Portugal. And if you spell it right, it works. All right, so let me click create. Oh, yay. All right, perfect. Okay. I love when something works. Okay. All right, so it found immediately, it found 179 images that are 2 stars and higher with the keyword Portugal that were shot with my Canon EOS R. So it found all those images that fast and dropped them in this collection. Okay. Now the thing about it is, see how it's got kind of a little gear on the corner of it? On the little icon for the collection, it's got that little gear right there on it. That's to let you know it's a smart collection. Okay. All right, so I can still rearrange images in this. You know, custom order is not supported in a smart collection. It's just going to gather them, so you don't have to individually hunt them down. Okay. So what I do once I've let Lightroom find the images for me, I am going to select all those images. It might feel like a double step here, but I wanted Lightroom to just find all those so I didn't have to find them individually. Okay. And then I'm going to click Create Collection, and I'm going to name it Portugal. Inside my collection set, and since I've selected them all, I'm going to choose Include Selected Photos. All right, create. All right, so now I just created a regular collection with all those images in it. Okay. Because the Smart Collection doesn't let me move them around, a Smart Collection also doesn't let me delete an image. You cannot delete a photo directly from a Smart Collection. Why does it not let you delete an image? Any ideas?
It doesn't exist.
No, the image does exist. The reason it doesn't let you delete an image out of a smart collection is because all those images are there because they have the specific criteria you set.
Oh,
You'd have to change the criteria and then the images would go away, okay? But in this case, now if I go to the regular collection and I want to delete the image out of the collection, this is why I made a regular collection out of everything that got put in the smart collection. And then I can move them around. Okay, I can delete them, so I can reorganize them, but I can't do that in a smart collection. The best point of the smart collection, it just finds a bunch of stuff for you without you having to go through all your images and find them. So it sorts all of that really quickly. So I'm going to do it one more time. Create a smart collection. So I'm going to call this Atlanta. We'll go with 4-star. 4-star. So rating, I'm going to set it at 4-star. I'm going to delete that one. And keywords, I'm going to put in Atlanta. Create. So I just deleted the one line. I just clicked the little minus, and the other line just went away. If I want to add another level of criteria, I click the plus line. If I want to remove a level of criteria, I click the minus line. So create. Okay, there we are. Atlanta 4-star images. Oh, there's 1,100 images with the keyword Atlanta and that have 4 stars on them. Okay. Or higher, 4 stars or higher. So let's do, so I can edit my smart collection. Let's make that 5 stars. Save. All right, now I only have 487. And obviously I want to rename it to 5 stars. Rename. Okay. So it just sorted all of those down, and it gathered my, it gathered raw files, it gathered TIFF files, it gathered virtual copies, it gathered everything that had a keyword of Atlanta and 5 stars, and just tossed it into there really quickly. Does that make sense?
yes.
Yes. Okay, cool.
Yes, yes.
All right. So the other reason that I use collections, and another good place to use them, is I have a folder called Lightroom Sync. Okay. Lightroom Sync. And I only have a few folders in here. And if you notice next to them, they got this little kind of, I don't know. No, I don't want to stop syncing it. Okay. All right. So it's got this little kind of 2-sided arrow, if you want to call it that, on that folder. Okay. That means those images are syncing with Lightroom Online. So let me pull this up again. Hold on. Okay. So you can, when you, if you're logged, you have to be logged into your Lightroom Creative Cloud as you set up your login, you create collections to sync, and then you can manage and share those folders online, which will also sync with Adobe Portfolio. So, okay. So what happens, oh, I don't have that open right now. So you can go to Lightroom Online. See if it'll let me do this fast enough. Lightroom, Adobe, hopefully I'm signed in. So these, it's Lightroom Adobe, and I'm signed into my account. So all of these are synced straight out of my Lightroom catalog, and they just got uploaded by synchronizing from Lightroom to my online thing by setting it up as a synchronized folder. And they automatically go up online. So I don't want everything to go up online, which is why I have specific only specific folders are synced. because I don't need everything up online, but it's going to sync all of those photos. And that was Paris. And here's a Portugal folder. For some reason, I have 2 Italy folders. Okay. But they sync straight out of my Lightroom catalog. So the way you do that is, now I created a specific collection set for that, so I know where they are and it's easy to deal with. Okay. But let me see. All right, so where is my class? Examples, Lightroom class. All right, so if I wanted, I'm just gonna go with something kind of small, okay? So if I write, this folder isn't syncing right now, okay? And if you notice, when I set up a collection, it asked me if I wanted to sync it, so I could choose that I wanted it to sync then. But if I already have a collection set up, okay, if I already have a collection set up, I can right-click on this and say sync with Lightroom. It's right below set as target. So I can sync it with Lightroom, sync Lightroom class 2, and now hopefully it just added that little kind of two-sided arrow on there, and it's going to sync all of these images in this collection with my online Lightroom. Okay. So it allows you to sync those in that way. Okay. All right. Oops. Sorry. All right, so, and it will show you how much space you have, how much space you have, how much you've used. You can pause it also. You can just click on that and pause the syncing if for some reason you don't want it to continue syncing, or you want to do some stuff before you've done that. You can turn it on and you can turn it off. So this is, if for some reason it didn't sync online, you might have paused your syncing and just turned it off. You can just turn it back on again, and it will resynchronize with those images online. Okay. All right, so collections versus folders. So who wants to tell me what the difference is? Who remembers?
Collections are on your hard drive. And I mean, the folders are on the hard drive space, and the collections are the virtual copies, which are also included in the folders.
Okay. All right. So folders are where your images are stored on your hard drive. Collections are groupings of images from multiple folders, and those collections are only available in Lightroom. So they're only organized like that in Lightroom. Okay. Oh, all right. So I'm going to escape out of this for just a minute, okay, and go back to Lightroom for a second, because Susan, you did ask a question about something, and I wanted to show you guys how this works.
Okay.
All right. So my example set, because there's very small amount in here. So, all right. So let's say I gathered all of these images into a collection because I wanted to share them with somebody. I wanted to put them up on Dropbox. I wanted to enter them into a call for entries. So they're all in this collection. I'm gonna select them all. Remember, this is a gathering of images, but it's referencing the original. Okay, so it's referencing the original. If I do any development on an image in a collection, it's going to apply that development when I go and look at the image in the folder. So it's still working with that original image. So whatever I do over here in a collection affects the original image over there. Okay, because they're linked together. So I now want to export them, and it's going to take those images in the collection, reference the original, okay, apply whatever development or settings I have done in the development module, and look, it's going to export 21 files, the ones that are in this collection. So I can export them out of there. I can print from this. I can make a slideshow from this. Making the catalog I made for the portfolio exhibition, I created a collection in Lightroom and I used that collection to make the book. And it uploaded the images to the book publisher. Used Blurb straight out of Lightroom. So it's all tied together. The only difference is the collection doesn't create multiple copies. It's just a reference back to the original, and you can put that reference in a whole bunch of places, but it's still referencing back to the original image.
So Judy, just to clarify, the simple collection would be the best way, not smart collections, these boxes, all of these other things, but a single collection would be the best way then to send to the printer, to send to Dropbox. Is that right?
Yes, but if you notice, I have this single or simple collection inside a box just for organization. Okay, it's just an organizational thing, because otherwise, let's see, okay, you know, in this box called Judy's Collections, I have, I don't know, 40 or 50 collections. And that gets annoying if that list starts getting very long. So that's why they're nicely contained in that little box, so I can close it up and I can go on to, you know, the Lightroom class collection. So that's just a few, or my sync collection. But the box holds the single collection.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you just use the box to kind of organize them where the collection's set. All right, so why organization in groups, save hard drive space, and then your collections are available in all of your other modules, okay? Types of collections, regular collections, the collection set, that's the box that holds them, the smart collection that's set by metadata or ratings, however you want to, you know, set that up. You can set it up to find specific images. A target collection, so you can easily add images to a collection just by making it a target. And then you can sync with online, and let's see, did that, okay, let me refresh that. Did that actually upload? I might have too many things going on with my internet to upload and to do Zoom. Oh, there it is, it's coming in. Lightroom sorting class 2. I just synced that, there they go. So while I was talking, I made that a synced collection. It uploaded that to my online Lightroom, making it pretty easy. So start using collections. If you get stuck, it's, you know, it's easy once you start doing it, and it will make a lot more sense, but it definitely helps organizing and not having to create multiple images if you want them in a couple different places. Because I know some of you guys enter, you know, a variety of different exhibitions or do different things with it. So you could have a folder for, you know, APG exhibitions, things you wanted to print, things you might want to put up on your website, things you want to share on Instagram, whatever. And you could have folders for all of those types of things. And you could have the same images in several of the folders, because you might want it on your website and Instagram, and to enter it into an exhibition call for entries. And you don't have to create multiple images of it. You just organize it into the collection you want it in.